originally came first to be a vet, and that didn't work out, not really well. COVID happened at the exact same time, so the classes were not used to being online only. So I failed out of the program that they had at the time, and I took about a year off. I ended up going and looking online and wanted to do physical therapy. They don't have that here. I was told about occupational therapy, and I didn't know what that was. I've never heard of it before, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me look into that. It's a type of therapy, it's a medical field. I want to look into it a little bit more. I read about it online, and it kind of piqued my interest a little bit, so I thought, might as well go through the program, right? It's a 2-year, so I won't take too long. And I actually met one of my instructors through my prerequisite classes. It was Dr. Stroman. She was my intro to psych teacher. She taught psych, and that was a fun class. She definitely helped out, and when she found out I was coming through the program, she started like talking to me a lot about like what I was gonna see, what the classes look like, where I could work, and just stuff like that, kind of like helping me to get a better understanding of where I can go with my OTA kind of program. OT itself, or occupational therapy itself, it ranges in what it can do. It kind of helps in all of life, from, we call it NICU, but from birth to death. We can start right as the child's born, all the way to the end of life of someone, whether it's unfortunately sooner, or if they go all the way into older age, in the elderly. And we can work in any setting pretty much. We can do home health, we can do hospitals, we work, they call it skilled nursing facilities, we can do inpatient, outpatient rehabilitation. We can even work in schools. That was actually a cool thing for me, is I found that you can work in schools. And I like that a lot, because I want to work closer to like a school, more like high school and middle school maybe, but even college would be kind of fun. But that's kind of like the area that kind of really pushed me in, is that I found out you can work in a school as a CODA, or as they're called certified occupational therapy assistants. So as an assistant, even, I can work under an actual occupational therapist. I would have to say the teachers and their personalities, our instructors, we have 3 different ones, and each of their personalities are very different. So we get Mr. Chavez. He's really cool. He's fun. He's awesome. He's very old school. He's very old school, and he gives us like more of a reality check of how it's gonna be, especially in the semester right now. I don't know how many times I've been hit in the face with a book, not really literally, but figuratively, of how realistically it's gonna be. We do have Miss Sanders Aceves as well. She is awesome. She's very joking, very like kind of down to earth with us. She's going through the program, or she went through the program a long time ago, and she understands in a way like what we're going through, especially with the classes, and so she gives us like another understanding. But then we have Dr. Stroman, again, the instructor that I mentioned. She too, she's an actual doctor, so she gets us all the way through. She understands the entire, like from an assistant to getting your master's to getting your doctorate. She knows like all of it. So we get like that experience from her, which is very valuable. She's funny too. She's awesome. She comes in, makes us laugh all the time. But I think that'd be my favorite part, is just being with the instructors. It ranges depending on where you're at, and then depending on what state you're in. Like I said, the inpatient, outpatient rehabs, the hospitals, the schools, they all have their own kind of waging of how they do that. About like an average, I think, was about 45 to about like 80,000 as a salary. That kind of ranges at. It's like I said, it's always different where you're at. From what I figured out, LA is like the highest paying, I think. but it's because you factor in as well like cost of living. It's really expensive to live out there, so then they have to pay their employees more. But that's kind of where it ranges at, and that's just as an assistant. I would definitely research more about it, because it's a lot of fun if you look into it more. Like just face value, you look at it and it's like, okay, occupational therapy, it's the same as physical therapy, right? And that's the main thing that people like understand and think. But the more you research it, the more you find out that it's actually not. It's physical therapy. I like working at a clinic right now. I see that they're more dedicated to like getting the person back up and moving, their functional like body back, like walking, exercising, stuff like that. But occupational therapy takes it to like a whole other level, to where we actually dedicate the activities and exercises to someone's life specifically. Like if people like to cook, that's one thing that I've seen a lot, is people like to cook a lot. And so you can actually dedicate the intervention and like the whole like therapy session towards that, instead of just saying, here, lift 20 pounds, lift 50 pounds with this arm, or walk so many laps. It goes really in depth, and it really shows that it's not a one size fits all kind of therapy. It has the ability to adapt and change for each person, because each person is going to have their own likes and dislikes, their own mentality of what they see, whether they want to do something or not, whether they like it or not. Everyone's different, and each condition that you work with is also going to be different. Again, it's not like a one size fits all. One skill that as an assistant that I'll become and that I will need is social skills. I came into the program and I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't talk to none of my classmates. I didn't talk to, during the simulations, I didn't talk to any of the people, like the clients I was working with. So that's something I definitely had to like get over, and I have to be more vocal, because as a therapist, I'm going to be the one doing all the talking, really. I'm going to explain to them why they require like therapy, how it's going to help them, what we're going to do, how specifically each thing is going to help them. And I'm going to be very vocal. And we call it therapeutic use of self, which is being yourself. That's what we use. It's just like using your mentality. Like for me, I like to joke. If I get really awkward, I like to start joking to like kind of lighten the mood and get everyone else kind of smiling, and then that makes me feel like more confident. That too, confidence, that's a big skill, is if you're not confident, it kind of tends to hinder it a little bit. Today, I actually went through an in-time simulation where I worked with a child, and I was able to actually do therapy with them and do like my own, like where I came up with the activity. And in the beginning, I was not confident at all. And even as a little kid, like he could catch on to that. He caught it. He got really nervous. I was really nervous. I didn't know what to do. So what I started doing, I started like talking to him. I started playing with him. I started saying like, hey, you want to play this game? You want to play that game? Started introducing. And so being social with even with one other person makes all of the difference for an assistant, I guess. It's being social, having that confidence, just being yourself. Those are like some of the big skills that I would really promote. And then the way that it really is life-changing for some people is it gets them back or as close to being independent as they can. No, I personally don't like people helping me as often if I know I can do it myself. Which that's kind of the same mentality for some, which is what we do. That's what we're here for. We're here to help them get back to that independent state. Being able to shower on their own, being able to clothe themselves on their own. I've never been clothed by anyone, but I know for sure it's kind of weird if like someone is taking my clothes off or like putting them on. I would feel really awkward. So I don't want to have to live that for the rest of my life. So for us, we try to do our best in getting someone as close to that, whether that means we can use what we call them assistive devices. It's just something that helps. If they can't reach, we have something actually, oddly enough, it's called a reacher, which is just like a long handle that has a grasp that just catches it and allows them to help. We use button hooks if you have trouble buttoning, even just like a regular button or buttoning up your pants, it helps out with that. So it's just like adapting the situation in a way. Instead of just like, here's a shirt, put it on, we can adapt to make, okay, well, here's a technique that might help. How about we lay it out, make it easier? Maybe loose fitting shirts can help because tighter fitting are obviously a lot harder to put on. If you like button ups, again, here's the button hook, or if you want to switch it out, we can adapt the shirt to have magnetic ones instead. But just like I said, just getting it back to independent, whichever way that means, like adapting the environment, adapting what they're using, and just encouraging that. When I graduate here, I have to pass my national board exam. That will allow me to actually work in like anywhere that I choose, but just to work as an occupational therapy assistant just in general. So I have to pass that first, but once I do, I actually plan to go to UNM. And they have what's called a bridge program, which allows us to, as a student here, if I can transfer over there, not have to worry about prerequisites and everything. And then instead of taking like 6 to 8 years to get my master's, it would only cut down to 4 to 6 because they actually mix some of the classes together. So I'm taking advantage of that if they still have it. If not, I plan to definitely work as an OT or as an occupational therapy assistant to get the experience. And even during that, I hope to go to school and work because that's what jobs really like. They like the experience behind the degree, not just one or the other.